Good morning. Let us discuss about the 15th June 2015 newspaper over here. The first article is related to the sectarian violence in West Asia. So to understand this article, let us understand the composition in the West Asia through the following map. Now if you see the demographics, Iran is a Shia dominated country, and next is Saudi Arabia is a Sunni dominated country. On the other hand, Iraq has Shias and Sunni. Population is majorly Shias, and also Sunni is almost equivalent to number of Shias, a bit less than that. Syria, it is a Sunni dominated land. It means that the population are majorly Sunnis, but the ruler is a Shia. The ruler belongs to Shia. Mr. Assad belongs to Alawite Shia. And next is, if you see the Yemen, almost both the proportions are equal in Yemen. So Sunnis are the majority by demography, and militia belongs to Shia. Houthi Shias are the militia over there. And next is, if we take about the other countries over here, Bahrain, so the kingdom of Bahrain, here the ruler belongs to Sunni, and the population is majorly Shia. So population is majorly Shia. Now in this context, there is a sectarian violence which is happening in this particular area. Let us try to understand this sectarian violence. Now, the major reason for the growth of the Islamic State in this West Asia is because of this sectarian violence. Now, in this context, there is a pseudo or proxy war which is going on between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Now, during 1980 to 88, there is a war between these two countries, that is Iran and Iraq. At that point of time in Iraq, Ba'ath Party was in power, which the head was Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein got the support from the GCC, that is Gulf Cooperation Council, where the will of the Saudi Arabia runs. The GCC is a conservative group of all these particular Shia dominated monarchies. So that's why the Saudi Arabia supported the Iraq. Now after Americans took over the Iraq, or American invasion of the Iraq, so once Iraq became a republic, the Shia government has come into power. So the Sunnis who lost the power, they are running the militia over there. So the Shias who are the majority, their government is existing in Iraq, and they have renewed their historical ties with Iran. Iraq till now acted as a buffer state between Saudi and Iran, and Iraq lost that status and it has moved close to Iran. This has particularly irritated Saudi Arabia. And next is coming to Yemen. So the Saudi Arabia says that the Houthi militia or Houthi Shias who are running the coup, or else who are running the militancy in Yemen, it has been supported by the Iran. And next is, recently in Kingdom of Bahrain, there is a revolution. So the Saudi Arabia sent its forces to protect the Sunni leader over there. And next is, if you see about Iran, with regard to the Syria war, what is going on as of now? The Syria, Saudi is supporting the rebellious forces, and Iran is supporting the Assad. Assad is always a close friend of Iran, and both of them are in relationship over there. And Iran is also supporting in Lebanon, the Hezbollah, which is a Shia militant group in Lebanon. And this Hezbollah is also supporting the Hamas in Palestine. So this is what is the sectarian violence which is going on. In Lebanon, Hezbollah is a Shia militancy group which is taking the support of the Iran. So this particular conflict, regional conflict, is leading to the instability with regard to this particular region. So unless the Saudi Arabia and Iran, they find a way out of this regional conflict, so the progress of IS will be cannot be stopped, or it will be problematic always. In this context, so last week there is an article, what are the problems in fight against in Islamic State? So especially the existing complex sectarian conflict that is leading to the provision of the support for the Islamic State. Whatever the weapons supplied by the Saudi Arabia to Iraqi Sunnis that finally landed into Islamic State, and that is what is the reason for the growing conflict over there. So this is about the article. And next is, so India, the BJP government, it has a policy of its own. What it says is, India shall be a natural home for the people persecuted, especially Hindus and Sikhs in the other countries. Now, if you take Israel, Israel has this law of return. What does that mean? Anywhere Jews, if they are persecuted, they can come and become the citizens of the Israel. Similarly, for Hindus and the Sikhs, the BJP sees India as a natural home. So based on this, if you remember a few days back an article which says that India has to provide for citizenship to the Bangladesh Hindus. Now in this case I have given one suggestion. What it goes is, India better sign 1951 Refugee Convention. Under this Refugee Convention, if any country, if minorities are persecuted in that country, it can provide for a lawful citizenship to those minorities. Without this particular policy, if India is selectively taking certain minorities from the other nations, ultimately that leads to the spoiling of relations with that countries, because it throws that particular country in a poor light with compared to the protection of its minorities. That's what is the suggestion given. Yes, India is better take of that particular suggestion now. And next is, with regard to the marital rape. So the marital rape, according to this article, it is based on misogyny and patriarchal attitude of the society, and also the fixed patterns or roles which are being given to the gender. So the opinions are conservative opinions about the sexuality of women, fixed gender roles, and then it is also related to the conservative or functioning of the society. So what is meant by misogyny? It is a hatred for women, where a person believes that she has to be treated in a particular way because she is a woman. So she has to be treated a particular way. It means that a type of a behavior is meant for women and she has to be treated only in that particular way. So it means that this particular conclusion is limiting the choices for the woman. So it means she cannot make a choice about how she has to go through an intercourse in her marital relationship. So it means the legal objections which are there for the present government to make the marital, to provide legality or else legal control over the marital rape. So it generally flows from this conservative attitude. So in this context, NFHS has given a survey. What it says is, among the total women who are committing the suicide, 51.4% of these women, they are the housewives. What is the reason for this? One thing is marital violence, and next is undiagnosed depressions and mental illness, and so-called as prejudice against the mental illness in India. All these are the problems the NCRB report talks about. So it means that the sexual violence in a marital relationship has a definite relationship with regard to the woman and her opinions. And suboptimal accord. What this talks about is, recently all the four major parties in Nepal, they made an accord. So on two important things. One is restructuring of the state, and second thing is the form of the government they are going to have and how this government has to be elected. So the first thing what it said is, the country will be divided into 8 provinces, and for this territorial division a commission will be established. And second thing is, the government, it will be a parliamentary form of government. And how these members will be elected? So it's a mixed electoral system where 60% of the members will be elected through the first past the post system, and the remaining members will be elected through the proportional representation system. So this can provide for a new life with regard to the Nepal, which is already going through a constitutional crisis. So one doubt expressed is this a temporary pause to the crisis or it's a permanent solution that has to be seen into it? And next is the Telangana government, for the governance issues, it's a very important. with regard to the ease of doing business in the Telangana state, Telangana has announced its new industrial policy, which has a legal backing. This policy has the legal backing. Under this, any permission has to be provided in a fixed time. For 200 crore and greater projects, the permission has to be given within 15 days. So like that, certain time limits are being given. So if an officer and organization fails to give or adhere to these time limits and also fails to provide for the permissions, then they have to give a proper reason for that. If they fail on that front, 1,000 rupees can be levied as a penalty on these officers. So it means it is going to bring in a sense of urgency, responsibility among the bureaucracy. So it is a move towards the attracting of the investments into the state. But also, it can reduce the bureaucratic inertia. It can be seen as a right step, that is rights-based approach towards the providing for industrial clearances. In this case, let's understand one thing. Anywhere, when you are providing a rights-based approach, along with that, capacity building has to simultaneously go into that. Without capacity and without due diligence, if you promise something bigger, it's bound to be a failure. So, right to clearances shall go along with the proper capacities with regard to the organizations. Hope the Telangana government will take care of this. And next is the LGBTs, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgenders. Now, with regard to this, recently Mahindra has got an ad which projected the LGBTs. Now it shows that in the commercial space, so the people with the different sexual behavior can enter into. So in this context, it shows that the markets are first to perceive the competition, opportunity, and also markets provides for early change, and state later adopts to it. The law or legitimacy to that particular action comes at a later date. This is what is happening everywhere. It means that in India also, for LGBTs, wider legitimacy is expected to come very soon. And these are the articles for today, and thank you very much.